There's a famous old phrase, isn't there? Can they do it on a cold, wet Wednesday night at Stoke? Well, maybe the question should be, can they do it on a damp and blustery Friday afternoon in Stoke? Well, it doesn't matter anyway, because the answer to that question is no. No, they can't. Wednesday travelled down to the Potteries today, knowing that they were actually safe, because Derby had done them a favour by being shite earlier in the afternoon, costing some money on our work accumulator by losing to Luton Town. The only bonus out of that was that Wednesday are now safe. Did that play a part in today's performance? I don't know. I think there's a million things that played a part in today's performance by Wednesday. But first things first, let's have a look at the team. Danny Rule made a couple of changes for the visit down to Stoke. One of them enforced just before kick-off when Michael Heckway got injured in the warm-up. So we went with Charles in goal, a back four of Valerie, Iofa, Fameo and Hatsusi. Midfield three of Shea Charles, Stuart Armstrong and Svante Ingolson. And a front three of Windass, Patterson and Gassama. On paper, not really got a problem with that. The front three, two players who know have nicked goals, not been in the best form of late, but then who has? Patterson down the middle, I understand the thinking. A lot of folks don't, and as soon as we lose, it's, well, why is he picking Pato? The theory's there, isn't it? Big Pato bashes folks about, shithouses them, roughs them up, and once they've been softened up, maybe he can bring Smithy on or McNeil or whatever and make the most of that space and opportunity that's been created back there when they've been pummeled for 60 minutes. So I get the theory. The theory didn't play out on the pitch though, sadly. Good atmosphere down there in the Britannia or whatever they're calling it these days. I understand that Stoke have been doing £10 a ticket for this game. They still weren't out of the woods in terms of relegation, still desperate to get results. £10 a ticket, fill your stadium, get as many in as you can, back the team. Common sense idea. But get fans in there, back in the team, fill the ground, get some atmosphere going, a little bit of energy for the players to play off. I mean, who would have thought something like that could work? And it did work. Stoke come out, very, very energetic early on. Ben Pearson, but booked after a minute. I mean, he is a shithouse, and he was a shithouse at Preston. He's a shithouse everywhere he's been. Forget about him. He's been annoying me for about 10 years, though, let me put it that way. But yeah, energetic start from Stoke. Wednesday, under the cushion early part of the game. Iofa picks up a bit of a soft booking. I'm not going to blame referee for today because that's near the era there. Wednesday's been really, really poor today. Although it did surprise me one or two things. Pearson could have had 4 or 5 yellow cards today. And that big Mardy kid with little plaits, he would have Mardy ass. He could have probably gone. Anyway, I'm not going to look at the referee. Not to do with him. We were very, very poor. Stoke were energetic, played at pace, lots of movement off the ball. I am going to mention that the ref, one of them, wore a shirt that was too small, so he looked a bit more jacked. But obviously, skipped leg day every day of his life. But forget about referees. I don't know what it is with me. I'm getting worse as I get older with him, I know. From very early on, Gallagher were putting him saying about Big Sam Gallagher. I mean, he looked a mess by the end of the game, by the way. I mean, they'd had to put him back together about 5 times. He got stitches in his eyebrow, bandage out here. Frankenstein's monster. He would only miss it built up boots, do you know what I mean? And then real handful him, stretching, popping up on either flank, working channels, full of strong running, coming in and receiving, holding the ball, getting it out wide. He's had a really good game for them. Willing to stretch in behind. I mean, he's not lightning quick, but he was willing to get the other way on Wednesday, that first half. Caught out with little clip balls in behind so many times. So frustrating. So frustrating. And I know sometimes you want to play an high line, and Wednesday you want to defend high and squeeze. And the thing is, when you're squeezing, you're only as good as your weakest link, aren't you? You know, if two of you go and third one's fucking fell asleep and that outballs it, you're fucked, aren't you? And that happened time and again. But when that happens, when you can see what's happening, when you can see balls going to one of their players, isn't you know, and he's having a big touch out and he's got his head up, you start dropping off. And with too many times, oh, okay, you know. And then shoulder race. So I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just very frustrated today, as I'm sure we all are. The goal when they got it, frustrating for Wednesday, it's our ball that right hand side, loose possession, centre half, little ball into winger, 1-2 with fullback, drills it into the box, and it's actually a terrible touch from forward, completely screws his touch. Goes to the back stick there, lads, there. Hatsusi don't get tight enough. But nobody got tight enough from first man. The left side of play had got acres and acres to put ball into the box. Didn't get near him. And it really disappointing goal. But you've got to be honest, it had been coming because Stoke were well into ascendancy. They'd started game brightly, with intention, verve, lots of hard running. And running in different directions, you know, not running in straight lines. I'm so annoyed today. I shouldn't be annoyed. We're safe. That's 15th. I'd have took that. But it's the manner, innit? It's the manner that would ship sailing into dock at end of season and we're like, safe passage, we've made it, you know. And just as we're coming into dock, we're just clanging to the side at Boardwalk. It's just right annoying me. That Gallagher was an handful. I mean, he's one bit. Like I said, I don't think he's a brilliant footballer, but he's a really good player, if you know what I mean. I make that distinction between a great footballer and a great player. I think he's had a fantastic game. But I mean, again, Wednesday get ball. He's won't ball strong. We're sort of, because we didn't get a decision. He runs 50 yards down pitch, cuts inside, blasts one off at bar. It's a poor finish, but brilliant, strong running again. Attitude and desire and willingness to get in there. I mean, Danny Rull going absolutely apoplectic down at touchline. He was jumping up and down like a lunatic with what he was seeing. And I could understand it because that's as poor a half of football as I've seen from us this season, you know. And you have got to praise the opposition because they were well up for it. They made it count, they were busy, they were moving ball quickly, mixing it up, little passes through middle, not afraid to go long, not afraid to just get it into corners. Real mixed game from them. But equally Wednesday so poor, not winning headers, getting caught too tight, getting spun. I hate people getting spun and going other way. You know, we've not had a shot. We've not had a shot in the first 45 minutes. But then you're unlikely to get a shot away when you're not getting ball forward with any accuracy. We've played Patterson up there. Now we know what he is. We know what type of player he is. You know, he's not Lionel Messi. But if you find him with ball, he'll hold it or flick it and get it. Nothing. They've been sailing 10 yards over his head, 10 yards wide at him, straight out for a throw-in. And I can think of probably two times, in first half, that the ball's actually gone in his radius and he's got flick on. There's nobody there. It's flick one on that side. Kasama should be getting in and making second striker, and then he's done one on the other side with little chest and layout, and Windas's, I don't know where he is. So it's no wonder we didn't get any shots away because we didn't really attack. We didn't attack with any purpose. The passing today has been so poor. Really poor. I'm struggling to think of a passage, apart from maybe 5 minutes second half, but we've put more than 4 passes together. You know, it's been a really poor game. A really poor spectacle, you know. For an awful watch. God. Got caught with another diagonal probably before or after. I know, again, just pinged. You know it's coming. You can see somebody lining up. They have that touch. You know when they're going to have it. Right, okay, I know this is coming my way. Straight over, drilled in, pings off off its bar and cleared away. But I mean that could quite easily have been 2-0. And to be honest with you, we were lucky to get in on the 1-0 down at break. We really were. Danny mixes it up at half time. I thought there might have been more changes, to be honest with you. Johnson comes on left for Hatsusi, who's had a tough time. I think the physicality at English football's still a big ask for him. He does get barged a bit. And it was a bit of a change of shape as well. Shea Charles went in third centre half, so it was like a back five with Johnson, for Mayo, Aoufre and Charles, and Valerie outright sort of wing back position, and we were still poor. Within the first minute, we actually get a similar ball again, and this time it's Charles who gets caught out, and he's probably been our best player this season, arguably. It was just one of them days where Nout went for us, nobody were 100% on it. There seemed to be like a lack of focus. There was a lack of cohesion. The passing were really poor. And, second half, I couldn't really see things changing much. Probably from about 50 odd minutes, we actually have a little 5-minute spell. We get a couple of passes. Ingleson, a couple of driving runs, gets brought down. Free kick that we get knocked in, and Firmao blasts a shot 20 yards over bar. It's still poor, but it's a spell. It's a spell, and man, you're going to have a spell. Even at your absolute shittest, you always have a 5-10 minute spell in a game. But we did have a little spell. Armstrong quite neat and tidy with ball, and then sort of started drifting out again. Couple of little runs, like I said, from Ingles. And Gassama had a run down right hand side, got into the box and sort of chopped in, and that just sort of bobbles wide. Like I said, our best spell, and if you're going to score, you've got to score when you're having your best spell at game. We're 1-0 down. An equaliser would change everything. It might suck the atmosphere out at the stand. But 2 minutes after that, it's 2-0. It's a freak goal, because that 99 times out of 100, that probably doesn't happen, I've even seen them in past referees pull striker, get out of the way, But it's unlucky. No attachment of blame to officials. There's kids running away from the ball. He's not stood in front of the goalkeeper being a bell end. He's running away. The keeper smashes it into his back, goes in. It happens. And that kid will be getting absolutely slaughtered online tonight, because that's what football's like these days. He's a young lad. As a young lad, does an experienced keeper do that? Maybe not. He'll learn from it. How old is he? 19? Young lad, he's going to make mistakes. People cry out for young players to be given an opportunity. And if they're given an opportunity, you've got to understand that they are going to make mistakes. And he's made mistakes. Is it a clanger? Yeah. Will he learn from it? Yeah, undoubtedly he will. Can't be just, he's coming and made a mistake, so now he's shit and drop him forever. You've got to accept that if you're putting kids in, there's going to be mistakes in there, because they ain't got the experience. So hopefully he's not too worried about that. He's got another 20 years ahead of him. But 2-0 down, a duffer of a goal, I don't want kid getting hammered for it, but it really is a duffer of a goal. And the way we'd played, you couldn't see any way back for us after that, I'm afraid. Pearson brings Charles down on as Wednesday have a bit of a counter attack down round side. Bannon points out that's his 5th one, ref, and he's already on a yellow. So Bannon gets booked for lipping. I hate them ones, I hate them ones. Ref was umming and ahhing. Oh no, I'll book him for mouth instead. The easy option booking them. Smithy comes on. It's a really nice strike. Inside at post and back across goal, and then we get a corner towards the end of the game. There, lad, on line, good defending, and this is what I'm on about. I talked about it last week, talked about it Blackburn game, talked about it Cardiff game. Don't matter who you are, look how hard these teams are defending. We don't defend like our lives depend on it. That's what annoys me. And football's about different aspects. Some people are good at different things, aren't they? But if you're to defend it, your first thought's got to be to defend and get stuck in there. And see their defenders today, that Wednesday weren't in the game. Wednesday we're not in the game. But in the very few moments where we did break and we looked like we might do something, again, they'd got 8 and 9 in their 18-yard box defending for their lives. And a lot of that's attitude, that midfielders busting a bollock 50 yards to get back and get a block in. That's attitude, Desire, that willingness, we've got to fucking all stick in and do this for points. 9 minutes of injury time because there was a lot of stoppages in second half. And Stoke were playing game, don't worry about that. I think I've rarely seen a team get so much cramp. Probably in the entire history of the game, but that's modern football. They do it. It's up to somebody pretends he's got cramp on byline and he's 3 inches from byline, and your referee would say, "Well, just get off pitch and have a stretch, son. Play on, everybody." Do you know what I mean? I'm not just going to polymax. It's every week. It's up and down country. Every ground you look at, match at day, First Division, Second Division, Premier League. Everyone's taking piss with this going down now. And there was an injury to one of their lads, a proper injury, an all serious injury. He'd put a cross in at the beginning of the second half, and I think he just landed badly on his ankle. I think he might have broke his ankle. I haven't checked up since, but he went out. So with a long stoppage for that. Stretches half an inch on pitch, so game can't carry on anyway, whatever. But Wednesday lost 2-0. All this, all that injury, they could have put 20 minutes injury time on, and you knew there was no point. You knew we weren't getting out of that game today. A really frustrating performance on top of a host of really frustrating performances. And what's the reasons for it? Well, some people are saying, well, this is highlighting that this manager's not as good as you think he is. He's actually shit, and we've had a little bit of luck. And some people, these players don't give a fuck. They're on beach. They don't give a fuck about club. And I think there's a little bit of truth in everything, and there's little bits of factors of all of it that's true. First things first, we're safe. Before the game, Derby have lost. Wednesday, now they're safe. Does that have an effect? I think it probably does a little bit. Oh, we're safe, lads, right? You're not going to go that extra mile when you know you're safe. When you know you're safe and your contract's up in 3 months, would you be selling to a 50-50 where you could get hurt when you don't know where you're going to be in June? Or you're selling to a 50-50 when the club might not be paying you at the end of this month? These are all little factors. We can talk about Gaffer's got tactics wrong or picked wrong team, or we can talk about players haven't done this and that other, but are they getting paid this month? Have any of them been offered contracts? Do they know where the futures stand? Gaffer's tactics, but are they even playing for a Gaffer? We've all worked at firms where Gaffer's going and standard drops off. Oh, have you heard? He's put his notice in, he's going. Everyone's like, oh, right. Everything slackens off. It doesn't matter what industry you work in. Gaffer's going, everyone's like, sound. Let's go for a pint Friday dinner. Extended lunch break. Everybody slacks off. Let's not pretend they don't. And we don't know what manager's going to be. Now, 99.9% says that he's probably going to be somewhere else. But is he? If he is going somewhere else, let's know. Because performances like this, I think, are turning fans. I really do. Even though we've had a good season overall, finished safe, finished mid-table, what should be a building block, but we're all getting a bit ratty-tempered with it. We get a bit ratty-tempered with performances. But I think the reason for that is because we know there's all this other bollocks in the background, and I think that's, it's eating away at us. It's like, there used to be a kid who come in our boozy years back, and he once said to me, I said, what are you doing here tonight? He went, I've heard there might be a bit of bollocks in back. I said, who we? Them. I said, what, geeks? I said, geeks aren't going to kick off. And he went, oh, no then. He went, it's not more dangerous than when a gimp turns. And what he meant by that is, geeks don't go around smashing people about, do they? But they might have been bullied or harassed for 10 years, and then there's a breaking point, isn't there? I think that's what it is with Wednesday fans. We're snapping at these performances, but it's breaking point because there's so much other stuff in there. Are we going to have a club in 6 months' time? Are we going to be in an administration? Who's the manager going to be? Are we going to have any players? There's 12 contracts up in summer. Is Danny Rule going to be here? Is he not going to be here? Well, what's crack? There's so much that we don't know. And that pressure building up in the back of your mind, then you then see a half-assed performance like this, and it pushes you over the edge. Fuck's sake, Wednesday. And that's what it is. It is a shit performance, and it would annoy you anyway. But it's annoying people more. It's bringing more frustration out because it's everything else piled on it. It's that dripping bucket, innit? And eventually, dripping bucket overflows. I should have used that analogy first instead of gimp one. Although that fact does remain not more dangerous when a gimp turns. I've seen after the game, the manager's annoyed. He said, these players aren't up for this. These players aren't up to this standard. That's about as near as it's come in the last 5 years, I can think, to a manager chucking some players under the bus, which is really had a personality type for Danny. He's usually very calm, very measured, usually front stuff up. If I've made these mistakes, so I've had to change things at half time. For him to be saying that about players, he's obviously feeling pressure. He's obviously, there's stuff going on here. There's stuff going on. Not like him to be like that. It's only a fortnight ago, what a journey with these players. They've given me everything. And now they're not giving him everything. Why? Why are they not giving him everything? Is it because they know he's going? Is it because they know they're going? Like I said, is it because they've gone, wages? What date are we on? 19th. When did they get paid? Week after next. Is there any money going into account? We don't know. We don't know anything. It's like Mary Celeste, bobbing along on sea. What the fuck's going on there? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. This has been a wank one, hasn't it? But then it's been a wank day. And we've still got games to go. Genuinely, I wish Whistle had gone it, and today had been last match of the season, because frankly, I've had enough of it. And it shouldn't be like that, should it? It shouldn't be like that. I shouldn't be going, oh God, I can't wait for this season to be over. I should be looking at this season going, 15th, promoted over here, stayed up, right battling, after worst start in the history of bloody second division, we managed to stay up. This season we've built on that 15th place. Great. Stepping stones in the right direction. Maybe next season we could have a push top 6. I should be saying what a great season this has been overall. I'm not. I'm just thinking, what's happening now? What's going on behind the scenes? You can't plan, can you? You cannot plan. We don't know what players are. You don't know what manager it is. You don't know if club's even solvent. We've got no idea what's happening. So when you see a shit goal where nobody's been marked and another shit goal where keeper's blasted it off somebody's fat ass into the back at net, it's straight up Rex Camel's back foot week, isn't it? can't put this out. I might have a brew and try again. Try again. I can't put this out. It's just so negative. But where's positives? Where are that positives? No, fuck it, I'll put this out. I'm not messing about. Nobody else's asked, why should I be asked?